I just couldn't get that imagery out of my mind. Because earlier in today's show, we already made a video talking about Vancouver Canucks superstar Elias Pettersson, and the fact that the New York Islanders are super interested in trading for this guy and his services. It's already been documented that the Isles have been asking for this player, they've asked about this player, they like him a lot, they're looking for a Swede out of Western Canada. And no, of course, we're not talking about Höglander, Rasmus Andersson, Victor Arvidsson, or even Nils Åman. It's Elias Pettersson. And in that video, it was more focused on the New York Islanders' point of view, but I also did say that I did want to make another Pettersson video just talking about some of the discourse surrounding this guy. It was only this morning when I read a bunch of the Islanders stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, we can talk about the Islanders too. But if you've been surfing around the internet in the right places, and in particular I'm talking about Twitter and Reddit, you might have stumbled across some of the Elias Pettersson rumor talk that has been going out there that has been so improper to discuss. And I don't want to expand much more on that because this is such an inappropriate thing to bring up about a player or about a situation, but some of the rumors that have been going around about Elias Pettersson and the Vancouver Canucks, what happened with JT Miller, was there a particular scenario in the Nashville game, what happened, why did Miller take his leave of absence, whatever. There have been a lot of conversations floating around in different parts of the internet that I don't want to repeat here, definitely not, but it has garnered a lot of conversation around this market, and a lot of this stems from, oh, I heard from this person, or I'm in a group chat and they were saying this, or I'm friends with this person who is in Vancouver and they know this, they know that, whatever. It's a lot of hearsay, telephone stuff, and in a way it kind of reminds me of the Connor Bedard, Corey Perry situation from last year, that in which was one of the most ridiculous and out-of-pocket stories that I think. It wasn't even a story, to be honest, but it was one thing that we kept on seeing at different parts of the social media world. But for Elias Pettersson and the Vancouver Canucks, I mean, it's unfair, I think, to fully dive into some of the stuff that's been talked about with this guy, and ultimately, we do know that there was an issue or two or three, or maybe even way more than that, with Pettersson and JT Miller, but now we're in the post-Miller days. Elias Pettersson is the best forward on this team, and he should be the best forward on this team. He should be that every single game, but quite frankly, he has not been that in any of the games so far after JT Miller. There's always been that question, hey, if Pettersson gets what he wants, if Miller gets traded, he's off the team, is Pettersson going to start doing very well again? What does it say about his game if he does? And then there's the opposing argument, what does it say about his game if he doesn't? What does it say about Elias Pettersson if he's only able to play well without JT Miller in the room? Oh, because there's another guy in the locker room, now I can't play well. But what does it say about him as well if the guy that he doesn't like gets traded and he still stinks? We're kind of going down the worst case scenario here with the Elias Pettersson talk, and with all the conversations about other teams wanting this guy and him still being on the trade market, etc., this whole thing has been spiraling out of control. But all the rumors that we have been seeing, some of these are so highly delicate that I don't think we need to be talking about these. And if you're wondering about any of it, then okay, I mean, there are ways to find it. It's on social media, but I'm not going to be the one to leave any links in the description or whatever. It's just, I think we have to do a better job at understanding the differences between the human side of these things and the hockey player side of these things. Because I believe that thinking about Elias Pettersson and his performance on the ice, that is ultimately the most important thing when it comes to the Elias Pettersson discourse and the rumors and the talking points that everybody is bringing up. All of this boils down to his play. And we recognize that he is a guy who is not necessarily like an emotional player. Like, I don't think he's like Mr. Sensitive like a Brock Besser or whatever. But we do recognize that when he is in his head, when he's not thinking about the game the right way, when he doesn't have that same mindset or mental attitude, that is when he plays poorly. That's when he has some of the worst stretches we have seen him have. That's when he doesn't shoot. That's when he refuses to attack the net. That's when we talk about his play, and that ultimately is the problem. No matter what happens with JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, JT Miller, feuds, whatever, something is said, whatever, like, it doesn't matter if Pettersson's playing well. And he just is not playing well. And so with that in mind, I wanted to head over to Canucks Central from yesterday because Dan Riccio and Satyr Shah had, once again, Jannik Hansen on as a guest on the program. And this is what he said about Elias Pettersson that had a lot of people just kind of, taking a drag on that cigarette like Matthew McConaughey in True Detective. Courtesy of CanucksDaily.com, here's the quote from Jannik Hansen. Elias Pettersson is a black hole right now for everything good. He's had multiple opportunities yesterday to shoot the puck, and it didn't happen for whatever reason. Passing is off, losing pucks. He wants pressure? Well, here's the pressure. And it's worse than when JT Miller was screaming down his throat in the dressing room, apparently. Because now, there's nowhere to hide. Every time you line up, and this will only last for so long, because teams will realize, okay, it's not Petey we need to worry about anymore. He's not doing anything for the Canucks. It's these other guys, Hansen said. There's nowhere to hide now. He is the number one center. He's the main focal point when you go look at the 12 forwards. Who's he playing with? Stop them, and we have a pretty good chance, and San Jose almost did it. Like, yeah, we got a shot from the half wall that goes in off some guy, and it's like, that's how you have to win games right now, because the offense isn't clicking. We don't have players when Quinn is out and JT is gone that you can count on producing goals every night. Your star players, the guys who are leading your team, you have to be able to count on them scoring every night, said Hansen. And so, hedonistically, part of me wanted to make this video just so I could do the Elias Pettersson interstellar black hole thumbnail, but at the same time, I thought this would be an interesting opportunity to dive into some of the extra conversations because, yeah, offensive black hole, oh boy. I mean, that's harsh. It was said on Sportsnet 650. I hope Elias Pettersson isn't listening to the radio at this time because we know that his way of responding to negativity isn't really all too productive. And at the same time, I do think it is fair, as well, as a fan of this hockey team, to still believe, to still have meaningful hope in this player and in this identity that the Canucks want to present. Like, okay, we have this flexible, dynamic scorer that can really make plays and make things happen, and if you give him too much space, he can snipe it on you. There was that identity, Pettersson and Hughes, building off of each other. They were so good. We're just not seeing anything out of Pettersson, and it has been like that for a year now. So, offensive black hole be damned, I'm still seeing a good amount of Canucks support from fans all over the internet saying, hey, like, this guy, I still want to believe in him. He is young enough, and he has already been good enough at the NHL level that we know that there is meaningful talent there. The question is, how long do we have to wait before we see it again? Are we ever going to see it again? So no matter what happened between Pettersson and Miller or whatever, that doesn't matter anymore. This team is the way it is. Pettersson is on this team, tasked with being the guy that he is, and he has not been living up to those expectations. So thoughts in the comment section below. The Canucks and the Leafs, this starts in half an hour or so. I didn't realize the game was at 4, man. Oh my gosh. I thought the game was at 7. That's why I wanted to make this damn video now. Oi. Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Share, and bye.